moving on from that, how did you get into pro wrestling then? Like, where did that shift happen where you're like working in TNA or you're involved in the pro wrestling world? Was that simultaneous or did that come after? Or
yeah, so after I left the UFC, the pandemic happened, and I was basically looking for something to occupy my time when I was pretending I was a school teacher to my kid, because schools were shut down. Everyone remembers that horrible, freaky time we were all in, but
it was weird. Yeah.
Yeah, I was so bored, like a lot of people. A friend of mine, Jamie Pollock, who worked at the UFC for a long time, he had just been made essentially like the number 1 or 2 executive at Anthem Sports and Entertainment, which owned TNA. We'll call it TNA. It was Impact at the time, but right. TNA. Yeah. And a mutual friend of ours said, "Hey, do you know Jamie's doing that pro wrestling shit?" I was like, "Would you help him out?" I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "He'd love to hear that you're available." So Jamie called me straight away, and I was like, "I need help. Would you do this?" I love pro wrestling, and I was a big fan of TNA. During the Monty Brown, Kurt Angle.
Oh, man. Monty Brown he's one of the biggest misses, I think, in pro wrestling history.
Yeah.
As far as star quality and that. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so I was a big fan, and I really got on with Scott D'Amore. Actually, speaking to Scott just before I got on with you.
Brilliant.
And yeah, that was a fun run. But ultimately, with the thing was the people who run that company, and this is why Scott D'Amore's not there anymore, is they don't really want success. Not really. They don't really want to make money. They want to be right. They want to be right. And what they want to be right about is the way they ran things 5-6 years ago.
So they look at the way they ran things 5-6 years ago before D'Amore came in and really got everything. I would call TNA white hot, if you will. I mean,
it was white hot. 8 months ago, it was white hot again. Yes. And they got rid of the architects of that. In fact, they got rid of all the architects of that.
Well, now I would say it is heating up again because of all the crossover stuff they're doing with NXT and WWE.
Yeah, and who did that? Who did that relation? Who caused that relationship to happen? Scott D'Amore.
That's boom. Here, I'm going to drop an arrow. This is what I mean. So I've always sort of speculated that because Scott D'Amore's like beloved. People, by all accounts, people love this guy.
Yeah, no one's got a bad Scott D'Amore story.
And so you had said on Toonie Talk when I spoke with you the first time, I think I'd asked you about TNA and how things are heating up. And I think you had said that in your opinion, in like 18 months, TNA probably won't even be around. It'll probably be absorbed or something. Now, seeing with what they're doing on WWE and NXT, and I think some of that is like Tony Khan calling Triple H and Shawn Michaels bald asshole. I think some of that is Shawn
Michaels. I missed that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm bald. I mean, what's
Yeah, well, Tony Khan tweeted out a while ago. Did
he say that really bold?
He really did, man. I could pull it up.
I take offense to that. I believe you. It's just at what point does he stop embarrassing himself?
I know, man. And
the thing is, what? I bet Triple H and Shawn Michaels have got hair just like Tony Khan's, just not on their heads.
Yeah, exactly. Tony Khan, oh no, everything's great over here. It's Wonderland. Everything's so safe and magical. It's great. But yeah,
it's more like Neverland with Michael Jackson. It's like, yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah, playing with all the old toys he couldn't as a kid. He's doing stat work.
I didn't mean it to be that creepy, but sure.
I'll take it there, whatever. But listen, so he made a bald assholes comment, and I think some of them working with TNA is like, Shawn Michaels going, "Oh, really, bald assholes? We'll work with you. We'll show you how to do Forbidden Door or whatever." Yeah. But now, has your opinion changed? Do you think TNA's gone in 18 months, or do you see it as
just the people are in charge? But Ariel Sherner, Nero, all those guys are dumb as a box of rocks.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, they're cornflakes for brains. If their brains were gunpowder, they couldn't blow a bogey from the left nostril. I mean, I don't know if I'm getting my point across. I think they're stupid.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I think it's got. I mean, that and Invicta, I think, have got about 18 months, 2 years. I mean, Invicta right now. I mean, they did this big, I'll take some credit for it because I was like, hey, Invicta, you know, why haven't you done a show in 9 months? You know, you've never gone more than 3 months without a show. In a decade, why have you gone 9 months without a show? And that's because Len Asper, who owns Anthem, was like, I'm not putting any more money into this. I'm like, well, why did you acquire it if you're not going to invest in it? You know, Invicta's a great brand. You know, Shannon Knapp, you know, poured her heart and soul into this and created something that's got real value.
Yep.
You acquire it to do what with it? Nothing. Not even put it on your own TV station that you're on Access TV. You don't want it on there. I was like, all right, why acquire it? So there's other things Shannon could have done with it. So I kind of brought attention to that, and this deal obviously would have been in the works anyway, but the deal that Invicta FC MMA has got with CBS Sports, it's a time buy. They're buying their way on there.
Right. Okay.
So that's not a TV. That's not a you and I could, you know, throw a bunch of money and get this conversation on TV if we really wanted to. If we, you know, if we just money marks, you know, sure. Man, that's not securing the future. And you know, they smoke and mirrored it really, really well last year. But TNA stopped making wrestling last year for a whole chunk of time in Q4 last year. Mm-hmm. You know, they basically went dark. No one really noticed it because they were so excited about the TNA relaunch and all that. Right. But they went dark. They went dark to save money.
And there was there was like a month there of like recap shows. I remember I watched it, so I was watching it. You know, definitely. Yeah,
you know, they didn't. The only reason they did that is so they did not pay as much money out each month. They're reasonably close to being there again. I mean, I'm sure they're getting more. They're in a better position with the NXT stuff, and there's more buzz about it. But I don't know. So I still think it doesn't have a lot. Just the people at Anthem are so stupid.
And so do you think to them they're like patting themselves on the back over, oh, D'Amour's gone, but look what we're doing with WWE right now? Do you think that they're looking at that as some sort of victory or?
Yeah, I mean, there's some of the people in particular. So I mean, look, I love a couple of people there. I'm really, really, you know, can't say enough good things about, you know, Josh Matthews are awesome, you know.
Love him.
Yeah, no, he's fantastic. Ross Foreman's fantastic. We should be listening to these guys who've been there. I mean, Ross was on the WCW booking committee when WCW was kicking us out of WWE.
Yeah,
like, listen to him.
Yeah,
he's been in the business now for 40 years.
Yeah, Bischoff. He gets so much.
Yeah.
Doesn't even make sense.
You know. Yeah. But yeah, they're probably like, "Oh, we're doing all right." But it's the fucking thing. Is like they did a massive pay-per-view, really, really good pay-per-view in January, Rebellion, and then they just cut the balls off all that goodwill by getting rid of Scott the way they did, and in such a cowardly way, like basically pretending it was mutual, and then Scott was like, "No." You know, and just such a cowardly way. It was handled exactly the way it's always going to be handled back with these Nimrods.
Yeah, and you had brought up before how when you know Tony Khan and AEW did their little TNA crossover there, and you had brought up on the show on where I interviewed you before, you were saying how, you know, Scott D'Amour sort of couldn't or didn't feel the need to take shots back at Tony Khan when Tony Khan
it was look. So to the credit, so the Anthem people I was just mentioning were like, hey, we're getting a little brothered a bit here. But on the other hand, we had access. We had Kenny Omega on our TV show doing fucking the best buy rates the company had done since Hulk Hogan days.
That's for real? Kenny did that?
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people who clip articles and they'll go, oh, look, Kenny did some of the worst ratings for TNA. And I was like, I don't know about that, man. It's Kenny.
Nonsense. Yeah. The first time he was on, including YouTube clips and stuff like that, over 1 million people watched TNA. Whereas the average for some weeks was like 100,000. So that's absolute nonsense. It just,
And so was it like the higher up Anthem folk being like, now Scott, don't say nothing about Mr. Khan? Or was
I think that came from fucking Scott's probably gonna watch this and give me a call and start bollocking me, but he isn't my boss anymore, so
hey Scott, come on the show and clear up the air. You're welcome.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But Scotty, I wrote like a page of zingers what we could do, and these were softballs. They were like making fun of like Tony Khan's soccer club had just lost. It was, they weren't like, oh, that's personal and no cutting. It's like, no, they were like just little flicks. He was like, no, we can't use them. I was like, what? I was like, we got, even like Tony Schiavone, making, asking him, because he's a barista, there was like a Frappuccino reference, Frappuccino for brains or something. Yeah. Like it's just schoolyard stuff, like not nasty, not ill-intended, and it's like, no, we can't.
Yeah.
It was like, seriously? But we have Tony making fun of our product on our product? I was like, all right, okay.